Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. As you can see, what we got here today is a very special duo. It's me and Ian. Yeah, had to throw it back and say that again. My guy Ian, how's it going, my man?
Good. How you doing, Garrett?
Doing pretty good. It's been a while since I've had you on the channel. I know I've had you in the IRL things, but I'm like, you know what? Let's get my guy Ian on here for some NBA talk a little bit. And with the season officially done, the play-in picks are now, and that's kind of what we're gonna do here today. So I think we'll start off though. We'll start like the order of how the games are played. So between the East 7 and 8 seed, we have the Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic playing. Now the Magic are like the home team. The Atlanta Hawks on the road. Of course, you got Trae Young in Atlanta, and then you got Paulo, Franz Wagner, and the boys in Orlando. What are you thinking for this game?
I'm thinking low key Orlando. Orlando's been probably one of the biggest sleeper teams in the Eastern Conference this year. Typically, I know for as long as I've watched NBA, I forget that Orlando Magic is even a damn team. So to make a little bit of noise this year is pretty special, and I think that they're a team that a lot of people have definitely overlooked, and I would be not surprised at all if they make a huge splash in the play-in.
Yeah, I think realistically they're they are kind of like a real 3 or 4 seed in the East because they started off the year good and then their top 2 players get hurt and they still were playing well, but then like the injuries just kept getting too much and they started losing. So Atlanta, they're kind of like a team that would be in the play-in, I would say. So they're about right where they are. But I feel like the Magic are really better than their seed shows. So I would agree. I would say Orlando. I think it'll be close, though. They actually just played today, and the Hawks won, but everyone was sitting, like, in that game, like, because they're not going to play their guys when everyone's seed is set. So I think the Hawks could win. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm gonna go with the Magic, and I feel like I don't know. I personally would rather see the Magic win. I don't know if you have any preference, like for or against, like a Trae Young or anything. But yeah,
If my team was in the Eastern Conference, I would have more of a preference. But being the Timberwolves in the West and seeing how competitive that is, the only Eastern teams I care about are like Milwaukee and Cleveland at this rate. So
yeah, that's fair. And maybe the Bulls. No, I'm just kidding. But let's.
and of course, come on now, I was just baiting you.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate that. We'll get into the Bulls here in a sec, but let's go to the West 7 seed game. Now, this one is going to be between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. Of course, the Warriors, we just saw against the Clippers, they had that back and forth game, and because they lost, they're going to be hosting the Grizzlies. I feel like these two teams have played in a lot of kind of big games in recent years. But of course, the Warriors have home court advantage, probably the more experienced team. Do you think that rules in their favor, or do you think the Grizzlies, come in, maybe Ja Morant has a big game and they pull off the upset?
I do think that although the scene is going to be set in Golden State and they're going to have that home court advantage, I do remember vividly this season Memphis being one of the teams, that was kind of mid, and then they had a really good run, got up all the way to the, top half of the the standings, and then they kind of declined a little bit. But it's another like Orlando Magic thing. It's just they're inconsistent, but I know that when they're consistent, they can produce a lot more. We did see at the end of this game, Jimmy Butler with that thigh injury. He was holding the thigh and pacing with it for a while. And Golden State is never, especially in recent memory, never prone to playing in a play-in tournament. And so I wonder if that's gonna like mess with them mentally. Otherwise, I would take it'd probably be a close game, but I would take Memphis at least by like maybe 5 or 10 points. It's not going to be a huge blowout. It's going to get really, really close, but it's going to ultimately end up in Memphis winning for me.
Okay. I like that, especially, these are two teams and they're way different, like from even 3 years ago when they played in the playoffs. But that was kind of a tight series there, and then went back and forth. But the Warriors came out on top. But the Grizzlies in recent years, when they've been healthy, have been the better, at least regular season team, I would say. And so it makes this a little interesting. And the thing you brought up with Jimmy, like being hurt, like I could almost see them not playing Jimmy Butler in the game against Memphis, thinking that, okay, we have two chances to make the playoffs now, because if we lose, we have one more chance. And then maybe it bites them in the butt a little bit, and the Grizzlies come out and they're hitting shots and stuff, and it they find a way. I will also note too that before that year that I was mentioning, like in the play-in, the Grizzlies had to play a game in Golden State, and they managed to win that, and they got to the playoffs and they eliminated the Warriors. So it's not like it can't happen, especially in a single game scenario. I think it's going to be a close game. I should say this. I think if the Grizzlies win, it'll be close. If the Warriors win, it'll be less close. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. But I could see Golden State resting Jimmy Butler. With that being said, though, I probably would still take the Warriors to win. I think it's just really hard to pick Memphis. I know they just fired their coach like not too long ago, so they're kind of going through like a lot. It seems like more downs lately. I know they just had a good game against Dallas to end the season, but I don't know. I'm probably gonna take the Warriors.
Yeah, and that's a fair assessment too. These are really like two very, very close teams in terms of they can play with each other, but they can they can definitely make or break their season depending on the shots that they take. And so I think that's just going to come down to a battle of playmaking, and whoever's on fire is going to be on fire. And if they're on their A game for either team, that's going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, I still can't get over the pause. That's just crazy.
Oh, I got another one for you, dude. I'm taking Memphis. I'm taking it. I'm shooting my shot.
Oh,
job.
Oh my gosh, I'm taking it. It's a little crazy too. Anyways, yeah. So I guess we have a different one there though. So we're gonna have a different team hosting when we get to the West 8 seed game. But I guess we can move on though to the Eastern Conference 9-10 seed matchup. So now we're going to start to get into, where it's make or break for your season. Like whoever loses these games, they're going home. They're not officially in the playoffs. So starting off with the Miami Heat visiting my Chicago Bulls. The last 2 years, these teams have played in the play-in, and it's going to be the same thing for the third year in a row. Now, I will say what's different is this time the game is in Chicago instead of Miami. It's also different that this isn't like a matchup for the 8th seed. So it's like whoever wins this isn't guaranteed in the playoffs. But with that being said, the Bulls I would say they've been trending a little bit better than the Heat lately, especially after the Heat lost Jimmy Butler. But what do you make out of this matchup? Who do you think finds a way to win?
I think I would boil it down to the Bulls probably taking it, and I'm not glazing just for the channel, strictly because Miami Heat have been on a steep decline this year, especially. I know that they've been in play-ins and playoffs for the past few years, predating COVID, but this looks like the most, lackluster team in terms of performance, and it's the inconsistency is very brutal. I know they had high expectations for the season to it, not, obviously not be the 1, 2, or 3 seed, but to at least have a shot for the 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe 7th. But with how they've been playing, I don't foresee them advancing.
Yeah, I would agree. The Heat have just been like on a really weird stretch lately, and it's kind of hard to put it together because they were sitting, I think, right around like 5 or 6 at the All-Star break, and then they seemed like they were playing kind of decent. Like, even though they weren't winning games, like the first couple, they played well after the trade deadline. Then they went on like a huge losing streak. They lost I think it might have been like 8 or 9 in a row. It seemed like they were almost trying to get below the play-in so they could get a better draft pick. But it seemed like they got to a point where it's like that wasn't going to happen. Now they're just going to have to settle for the play-in. But I do think this is the year that we beat the Heat in the play-in. Third time's a charm, they say. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot more frustrating of a game than it should be. I think that really we should probably blow out the Heat. But I feel like we're just going to not be hitting shots. I feel like we're just going to Billy Donovan's going to frustrate me. Patrick Williams is going to play and frustrate me. But I would still say that we find a way to win and get to that game for the 8 seed. Yeah, I don't really know what to expect though with the Heat moving forward. Like you were saying, like they've just been going downhill so much, and it's not like they have a young team either. Like, yeah.
They got a retirement center for their franchise over there right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then they might Udonis Haslem might come back and square up again on the sidelines. But yeah, I don't know. So it seems like we're in agreement there. We both got the Bulls. On the Western Conference side of things, though, with the 9-10 matchup, we got the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings. The Dallas Mavericks, probably a lot of pressure right now because of the whole Luka Doncic trade. But of course, AD's at least playing. I know they're not going to have Kyrie, but like you got AD, you still got like, Gafford and PJ Washington, some of these guys that made the finals last year. Whereas the Kings, it's basically like the Bulls of last year, like what you got with DeRozan and Zach LaVine. But do you think that Dallas can walk into Sacramento and get the win, or do you think that the Kings will pull this off?
It's so tough because Dallas needs to win this game in order to prove to their fans that they made the right decision by trading Luka, because this game is basically determining how the fans are going to look at your fan base for the next few years. Because with that blockbuster Luka trade that nobody, not even a blind person, saw coming, that was monumental in the NBA. That was one of the biggest trades in NBA history, and we still have fans, talking about it, and it will be talked about for a while. And then, of course, injury-prone Anthony Davis, the first game with the damn team after the trade, gets injured.
Yeah.
So, storybook, they're not playing to just make the playoffs. They're playing to help their team be liked by the fans at this rate, because the fans are over this shit. They whooped the Timberwolves last year when everybody counted them out. So for them to be at the 10th seed right now is crazy, especially when you think about with Luka, they were at 6th, 5th, 4th seed this year for a large amount of time in those middle months. The Kings, though, however, I wish I knew more about the Kings, but Sabonis is a dog, bro. Like, that man, I will glaze Sabonis, and I will buy a Kings jersey just to rep that man. But also, Sacramento, just like Orlando, when you think about NBA teams and you think about teams that are in California, LA Clippers, LA Lakers, Golden State Warriors, nobody thinks about the damn Sacramento Kings. So they're fighting to get their name put on the map, and Dallas is fighting for their name to be completely unwritten from eternal fan hatred. But I will say that Dallas has, applied more adversity and pushed through it a lot more. Pause again. But the Kings are taking this one by 10 points. I think the Kings are finally going to get it done this season.
Oh, so you got the Kings winning this?
I do. I think Dallas is themselves in a rut, and definitely without Kyrie Irving, that's going to sting a little bit. I just don't think that they got what it takes this year.
Yeah, I got distracted because I'm like, you're racking up the pauses. Also, I was going to make another point when you said not even a blind person could see it. I'm like, well, I don't know if they could see anything. But with that being said, though, I do see your point. I think that, the Kings have really been more consistent with how they are this year. And what I mean by that is, like, they've been a play-in team pretty much from start to finish. The Mavericks, like, they were 4 or 5, like you said, like before the Luka trade. Now they're like 10th, and nearly missed it. So, but I do think that this is a more important game for the Mavericks. It's really unfortunate for AD because he's kind of put in a situation now where it's like there's a lot of pressure on the team, which there's always going to be pressure on him, even if he was with the Lakers. But I feel like it's way worse right now because you could argue that like the most unpredictable trade in NBA history happened like mid-season and stuff. Because of that, though, I do think that the Mavericks are going to have to play like it's their game 7. I actually do think that they're going to pull it off, and I think they're going to get this win and survive another day. So I have the Mavericks winning this one, though.
That's a fair assessment. Like I said, this is another matchup that can go either way. Like all of these play-in matchups could like definitely go either way. It's crazy the amount of like how close these play-in games are going to be this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And then once we get into the 8 seed games, though, for the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. So I think the East, we have the same matchup here because we both picked Orlando and we both picked Chicago. So we're both going to have Chicago going into Atlanta for the 8 seed game. Now, last year, these teams did play in Chicago. The Bulls managed to get the win, but I think these teams are much different. The Hawks have Dyson Daniels playing big minutes, and Zachary Reese-Ajay has been good. Their first overall pick. The Bulls are just a drastically different team now with Josh Giddey and Buzelis and all these guys. So I mean, if you had to pick Bulls, Hawks for the 8 seed, who do you think takes it?
I would say one of the teams. No.
You know what? I'll go with you on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly, well, I mean, I hope so. If you're choosing any other team out of there, then we're pretty dumb. Do a retake of this podcast. But honestly, I think that consistency just plays a big role in it, and also just passion. I think that when I said the Bulls win, that means that they're going to win their first technically playoff game in what is it like? Or have they won a play-in tournament?
They've won play-in games recently, and then but pretty much nothing.
I would say that this would be one step closer to finally, showing the Eastern Conference that they're not a team to be, messed with. Pause again, but this has a lot of superstars and a lot of unsung heroes. Everything about Orlando, and it's pretty much going to be the most even matchup of the playoffs if it happens. But I'm not glazing again, guys. Please, no. I'm taking the Bulls by 15 points. I think Orlando's going to crumble. There ain't no magic happening in Orlando.
Well, so we both have them playing the Hawks, I think, because we had Orlando beating the Hawks. So it'd be Bulls against Hawks for this.
Hold on. You just said that we had the Magic playing the Hawks.
We had the Magic beating the Hawks, but then the Hawks would move down and they'd have to meet the Bulls, right? Yeah.
Okay. Well, Bulls.
Just Bulls, that's it.
It's my bold prediction.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, right.
But I would actually agree. I'm also gonna take the Bulls, and I don't know. It's gonna be tough because I feel like just the last several years, we haven't got out of the play-in. We're always the team that's the closest to getting there that hasn't prevailed. And I think there's maybe a little bit more motivation, I guess, to win there. It's you've been in the same spot the last 2 seasons. There's no way you go into this situation again for the 3rd straight year and lose. That would just be embarrassing. And I just think that we have actually been trending in a good direction. The one thing you did say about the Bulls is kind of us putting ourselves on the map and showing that we're not a team to be messed with. Because realistically, over the last month and a half, 2 months, we've probably been record-wise a top 4 or 5 team in the East. It's just that we were so far down that it didn't do much to our record, So like I said, I do think that we're probably a better team at this point in the year than the Hawks. The Hawks traded away 2 wings at the deadline, and then another one they lost for the season with an injury. So I feel like that does make it a little bit better. And I think that we'll get the 8 seed and we'll be playing the Cavs in the first round, which won't be fun, but we'll get there. So yeah.
Right.
But okay, and then we got one more matchup here. Now this one is interesting because it's completely different. So I'm gonna ask you based on your prediction for this though. So you had Sacramento winning their game and the Warriors losing theirs. So between Sacramento playing in Golden State for a chance at the 8 seed, who do you think wins that?
Didn't I pick Memphis?
You picked Memphis to beat Golden State. But they would get the 7 seed then. So then the Warriors would move down for the 8 seed. I know it's a little confused.
messes with my mind and playing because I keep feeling like it's single elimination the entire way. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It would be easier if we had like a graph.
No, it would. I'm a very visual learner and I still suck. So I would say if it boiled down to it with Sacramento going into Golden State, there's no chance for Sacramento. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. We know who the playmakers are on Golden State. We know who to rely on. We don't know who to rely on Sacramento because they've never had that many opportunities to play in these types of games and make a statement. And if they somehow win, it's going to be out of Vegas's pockets. I'm telling you that right now.
Wow. Straight out of Vegas's pockets is crazy. On that note, like with the Kings and the Warriors, I would agree though. I mean, I think I don't know, like the Kings I think if they still had De'Aaron Fox, I would give them still a slight chance, but I don't think that they really have like the same firepower as they once did. I feel like this is going to be like an easy win for the Warriors if they match up.
Yeah.
But yeah, having said that though, with my side of it, because I had the opposite matchup, so I had Dallas going into Memphis to play for that 8 seed game, and this might shock you a little bit, but I would have the Mavericks winning this one as well. I don't know. I don't really see, like, the Mavericks have to at least make the playoffs. After doing a trade like that for Luka, like, I don't see a way where they can go home to their fans telling them we couldn't even make the playoffs after trading away Luka. Like, I think they'll at least get there. They'll match up with OKC in the first round, and they'll probably lose pretty easily. Maybe, I mean, just making a realistic prediction, not trying to like jinx, but I feel like if they did get that far, I'm sure AD would probably get hurt in a first round matchup. At that point, if he's played that many games in a row like that just to will his team to the playoffs, it seems bound to happen.
Oh God.
But I do think I don't know. I mean, I do think the Grizzlies though, like they just have been trending in the wrong way. Now, like I just said earlier in the show, like they did play earlier in, like they played today, like on the last day of the season, and the Grizzlies beat them badly. But of course, there were people not playing. I will say though, it seemed like more people were sitting for the Grizzlies, so I could see the Grizzlies winning it, but I would probably go with Dallas. And me personally, I would rather see Dallas and OKC play again than Memphis and OKC. I'd feel like Memphis wouldn't really stand a chance against OKC.
Yeah, that is a fair assessment. It's crazy because although we're talking play-in, OKC, there's specific teams that they don't match up well against. Yeah. And if they have to play those teams like the Timberwolves, which they obviously won't have to, but then not Memphis, Dallas, like teams like that, it would make for such a blockbuster, storyline. The bottom seed beats the first seed, but then you look at season statistics and it's like, okay, well, they kept getting their ass whooped by this team the entire time, so it would prove it'd be a huge statement. And then going back to what you said, all the pressure isn't just on the team, it's on Anthony Davis, and he got thrown into that situation because of such a out of nowhere trade, and it's got to be so much like pressure for that man. So I really, even though I picked the Mavericks to not, advance, I hope that at least AD can do something, because if he doesn't, then it's, oh boy, I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I said probably in the first round of the playoffs, but it also wouldn't surprise me if he's playing a great game the first game against the Kings and then he gets hurt or something like that. Like that's just like, I think we saw it last year with Zion. Zion had like a great playing game. He had like 40-something points, and he gets hurt in like the last 5 minutes of the game. They lose to the Lakers. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not hoping for that, but I feel like realistically that could happen. I mean, just the whole trade that Nico Harrison made, it has people getting run into the ground for the Mavericks. So we'll see. I'm hoping they can at least make the playoffs. I think it will make for a little bit more entertaining, matchups too. So
could you imagine Anthony Davis pulls a Dre Greenlaw from the Super Bowl, like running out onto the field and then tearing his Achilles? Like they do his player intro. You're like, Anthony Davis, and he like jumps up for one of their stupid little hand gesture celebration. Then he goes,
I actually saw like a funny thing, and then we'll get into the next topic. But there was a funny thing on a timeout for a Hawks game last week, and they did like they do a layup, and then they do tic tac toe. You got to put down a piece every time. Like someone went up for a layup and they slipped and like tore their ACL on the first one. I was like, how does that happen?
That's that I would do. How the fuck do you tear an ACL from a layup?
He came down like in an instant. He was like balled up. I'm like, dude, how?
Was he a bigger fella?
No, he wasn't. And he just like, I don't know. He was like probably 40 or something. He definitely had that like, how should I explain it? Like that guy, like that uncle at the cookout, like, oh, let me see the rock or something, like that type of vibe, I guess. Like,
I'll give you the body stature, bro. This is what you're talking about.
he kind of did. He kind of, yeah.
That's what happened. He tried to run, and his leg kicked up to his stomach and it put it right back down.
Yeah, he went down like he caught a banana peel or something. Like,
I know them court sweepers got yelled at after that shit.
They said both people won. They said one guy won the matchup, the other guy might win a lawsuit. But
so, who wins the most money then? I mean, that's funny.
Yeah. I don't know, but I thought that was funny. I thought of that randomly when you're just talking about AD. But yeah, if you want, we can move on to the next topic. So we got two more little topics here. The first one I call it the honor of the week. So basically, I have a former player here that I'm going to give you. You're going to have roughly about a minute. If you go over, that's fine. If you go under, that's fine. You can praise this player. You can hate on this player. I don't care, whatever direction you want to go. But basically just kind of like talk about the player in any way you want. And yeah, you're up for it. You ready?
Oh, brother, here we go. Here's where I get famous for all the wrong reasons.
So it's just one player. Again, you'll have roughly about a minute to talk about him in any way you want. But the player is KAREEM ABDUL-JABBAR. And you can go right ahead. Whatever you want to say about him.
Oh, KAREEM, how you make me KAREEM when I watch you play. You have 6 syllables in your name, and every single just is so beautiful. KAREEM ABDUL-JABBAR. What a great player. What a great person. Anytime I look up to you, you make a basket. Anytime you play, I just think, man, if I could just be like KAREEM ABDUL-JABBAR, I'd get all the bitches and all the money and all. KAREEM ABDUL-JABBAR, you have 3 letters in your name. KAREEM ABDUL-JABBAR. You know how to play the game. KAREEM ABDUL-JABBAR. What a great player. What a great. That's all we're gonna say. What a great. The glazing will not stop here. You have done this to KAREEM ABDUL-JABBAR. If he reaches out for a lawsuit, it's on your hands, Super Mario Hoops 24.
Whoa, okay. That was time anyways, so I did not, I've done this in every episode, but you're the first person who actually like put it into a poem.
No, I'm that way. I'm like, dude, I can make this rhyme.
I know you're like 3 letters in the name, like I love your game or something. Like that was kind of tough.
Did you like to start off? No hesitation, KAREEM. You make me KAREEM.
I know that one. I was like, what the heck? Like your sky hook has me hooked, or I don't know, like something like that.
I cooked, and now this chat has me cooked.
Oh, I don't know. Then that is crazy. Well, I'll give you props though, because you at least like put it together in a rhyme. When it first started off, I was like, oh brother, but you kind of made it like you made it flow. So,
I'm right. Remember, it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. There we go.
Yeah, I think you said that on one of the other ones too. Before that, I had you on. You're like, I start, but I can't finish.
That was in my my fat phase. Now we're fit.
Hey, well, at least you finished with that. But we can move on to the final topic, a little mini game to close out the show. Now I call this a best of 7 roses. Now every mini game that I've done this season is relative to D Rose, my guy back here. in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to ask you at maximum 7 questions. You know, if we might not get to all of them, but basically you're in a best of 7 series. So either if you win 4 of these or lose 4 of these, like get 4 correct, get 4 wrong, and then it'll end from there. They're all going to be yes or no questions. They're all based on D Rose to some capacity, and we'll see how well you can do here. So are you ready?
Unfortunately, yes, I am ready.
Okay. The good thing is you do have a 50-50 shot on every single one, but we'll see how you can do here. So the first one, you know, being that we're talking about the play-in today, I feel like it's only right that the first one I ask you is, D Rose has played in a play-in game before, yes or no?
Yes.
So you're going to roll with yes?
No. I take no.
Okay, so you're going to roll with no.
I'm rolling with no.
Okay. Well, there's no way you were going to miss that because that is correct. It is no.
Oh, God, you just blue balls me, Garrett. I was looking over like...
What? Yeah, you were kind of frozen. It was crazy. So just like that, though, you got the first one. So you're up 1-0 right now on... I don't know who you'd be on. Like, it's like you're playing a CPU, essentially, like in a video game. So you're up 1-0 on the AI. Second question, though. We'll see. I feel like you might know this. So are you ready?
I am.
Okay. So number 2, D Rose made the playoffs with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes or no?
No. That was after the 2018 campaign. Or wait. Well, no, because that was with Butler. That couldn't have been. Wasn't it? Okay, I'm switching it up. I'm going to say yes.
So you're going to roll with yes. So you're going to roll with yes then?
I think I was thinking 2019, but it was 2018 that they made it. So.
Okay. So you're locking in yes then?
I am locking in yes.
Okay. And yes, you are correct. 2 for 2. Yeah, like the year you thought of initially, that was like his best year, like his main year with the team. But then he
got that, right? Like record-breaking points or something.
That was in the 18-19 year. But then the season before, he got signed like a month before the playoffs. So, and he actually played pretty well. But yeah, I don't remember because I know Jelson like went to one of those playoff games that year, but I couldn't remember if he went with you or not, or if it was maybe it was Hindo. I have no idea who it was.
It wasn't me. The only playoff games I've been to for the Timberwolves were Game 3 against Denver in 2023, and then that same year I went to the play-in game against Oklahoma.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I didn't know for sure, but I was like, you know, maybe if he did go, he would remember it, I'm sure. But you still got it. So right now you're up 2-0. We'll see if you can get this next one. Are you ready for number 3?
I am.
All right. So number 3 is D Rose has never been swept in the playoffs before. Yes or no?
Typically, this whole entire round, whatever I want to say first ends up being the wrong answer. So that doesn't really come into effect here because I don't know at all. I don't have any general inclination, but I'm going to say, what was the question? That he has never been swept?
D Rose has never been swept in the playoffs before. Yes or no? So like yes would be like that's correct, and no would be like that's incorrect. What were we gonna say?
Correct. He has not been swept.
Okay, so you're going with yes then?
Correct.
And you are correct. You got it. 3 for 3. Wow. Okay.
That deserves 5 big booms.
So that means just like that, you are up 3-0 already. If you get one more, you conquer the minigame, just like that. So, yeah, he's, like I said, he's never been swept. He's played in probably, I want to say like 10 playoff series, but once again, never been swept. He always finds a way to get one. So, are you ready for the 4th one? This could decide if you conquer the mini game or not, and you could do it in a sweep fashion. So are you ready?
I am.
All right. So number 4 is D Rose averaged more than 20 points per game in the 2015 NBA playoffs. Yes or no?
Oh God. Dear God, I didn't even.
Yeah, the question started to get a little bit more tricky.
Yeah. Golly.
He's thinking about it.
Yes. I concur with yes.
So you're going to go with yes for your
I'm
final
gonna go
answer. You said yeah?
Yep.
Okay. I couldn't tell because you it broke up there.
No, you're okay. I gotta contain myself here. If I get it right, Legos are flying everywhere.
Okay. Well, you can let those Legos fly. It is yes. You got it correct. Wow.
Let's freaking go.
Just like that. That right there is a clean sweep. A 4-0. What were you going to say? Sorry.
I got to try to run the board. Ask me the last 3.
Okay. So you want to do the last 3. All right. We'll see if you can get these. So number 5, D Rose made his playoff game winner over Kevin Love. Yes or no?
No.
And you're correct. It was no. Yep. Wow.
Boom. Let's freaking go.
All right. So we'll see. Number 6, D Rose has never played a duplicate team in the playoffs before. Yes or no?
What defines a duplicate? Oh, so
like he's never played the same team twice.
Maybe the next year, something like that.
So like he's just never played the same team twice. So like he would have every playoff series it's a different team. So is that true or no? So yes or no?
No.
And you are correct. It is no. Yeah. Wow.
Dude.
6 for 6. The team was the Cavs. He played them actually 3 times. So, but
Damn,
he never played any other team, I don't think, twice, though. So it was only them 3 times. He would have played Miami twice if he was healthy in one of the series, but yeah. So we'll see. So far, you got 6 of 6. The last one, are you ready?
I am. 6 for 6 is something I dreamed of.
That is true. Michael Jordan style. Shout out MJ. But we'll see if you can get 7 for 7, something MJ never did. The last question is D Rose has multiple playoff years where he did not miss a single free throw. Yes or no?
Multiple playoff years where he did not miss a single free throw.
Meaning he would have multiple playoff years where he shot 100% from the free throw line, or yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
You're gonna go with yes. Any inclination of why you would say yes?
Because D Rose is the GOAT, glazing at its finest.
Okay, so you're gonna glaze on this last one. Say yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it was worthy glaze all around. You got it right. Wow.
7. Oh, brother.
That's crazy.
What
a run that was. 7 for 7. It's crazy.
Has anyone done that on your channel before?
Well, so you're actually the first person I've given this type of mini game to, but I did not think you were going to get 7 for 7. I'm going to be real.
Any dude.
I had a feeling you were going to get, you were at least going to get 4 right, but I thought it would take 5 or 6 questions, you know?
I felt like I was going to get the Timberwolves one. Like, if you brought him and the Timberwolves into the mix, I definitely was going to try to get that one right, but I am just as shocked as you are.
I thought maybe the play-in one would be a little tricky. I thought that the 20-point per game one would be a little tricky. But, yeah, maybe the game winner one over Kevin Love. So, that one was over Tristan Thompson, actually. But, so, yeah, good stuff. 7 for 7. How do you feel?
I feel like $1 million, literally. I feel like I shot a layup and didn't tear my ACL.
unlike the one guy we were talking about. Um, yeah, no, that is nuts. How would you say this stacks up between like what would you say feels better, going 7 for 7 here or getting those clutch wins in the tournament to secure the 1 seed over Jelson and myself?
Honestly, um, it's very selective because this I had no prior knowledge of. You
That's
know,
true. Yeah.
I was playing in the tournament. I would say this one surprised me more, but that still was crazy to run the table after taking the first loss in that tournament.
That was crazy. It is. The other thing is too, like I didn't even give you like an idea of what the mini game would be for this one. Usually I say like, okay, the mini game is gonna be called this or something, but like I was just like, okay, we're gonna do a mini game, and then you're like, okay, like so to go 7 for 7 on it, I gotta give you props.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Just because great host right in front of me
Oh, of course,
makes it
and
much
and a
more
great player, D Rose. Without D Rose, I mean, you went to win 7 for 7. We got to think about it like that too. So,
Thank you, Derek.
yes, sir. Thank you, Derek Martel Rose. But I think, yeah, appreciate you being on the show once again. I think it was a good one. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. I don't know if you got anything you want to add before we wrap it up.
Just want to add that anyone that watched this video and they're excited to see my next cameo in a tourney video, I've been losing more weight, guys, so I'm going to be skinnier. I'm going to be quicker. I just ran my first sub 8-minute mile today. So you guys better watch out for these moves because they're coming. Pause.
Yeah. All the pauses in the episode. Before we go, what's your because I was gonna ask you, what's like your latest Lego set you're working on?
Man. Oh, are you able to flip the camera on here?
You can turn it, I think. Yeah, like if you're not on lock screen.
Oh, if you're not on lock screen, oh boy. Okay. Well, I have a marble skyline right here.
Oh wait, it's not turning, but
oh, here.
Okay, we can see it though. Yeah. Okay.
So I got the Sanctum Sanctorum, Daily Bugle, X Mansion, and then the Avengers Tower on the far.
Sheesh.
Over there. So I got a whole shelf built dedicated to this entire city. So I calculated how many pieces in total it is. It is at, it's just above 14,700 pieces in total. It's actually insane.
Oh my gosh. How long does that take? Probably.
So the Avengers Tower I had purchased right before I went to Florida in March. So I spent 1 day on it before Florida and then about 3 days after. So that one was 4 days. The X Mansion was 2 days. The Bugle was 3 days when I got it. And then the Sanctum was 2 days. So almost like 2 full weeks of this right here. It's actually, it's insane. It's something that you have to see in person to literally quote unquote marvel at.
Oh, I like that. I like that wording. Now I might have to find my way back there and get my hands on the piranha plant.
I got discount coming way, man. Anytime you visit, man, you just let me know. We'll get you with that discount on me.
Yes, sir. I do use the keychain, if you remember that Winnie the Pooh keychain.
I've been up in my keychain game, dude. I got a shark, I got a mushroom.
Ooh, I like that. It's like
I've got Spider Gwen. Then I've got the old Lego loyalty member VIP guy right here. So
I like that. Well, it's a good collection. I don't know if I'll ever catch up, but might have to boost my collection a little bit. You know what I mean? But again, appreciate you hopping on the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.